Alright guys, so I got the deck off, got it up here on this jack stand so I don't have to bend over so much. I'll try to get it cleaned up. It's in pretty bad shape, but it's not terrible. And lots of nasty soil and leaves and everything else on it. It is rusty, of course, but I think for the most part it's just surface rust. So I think with any luck I'll be able to save it. Got a sticker here with the belt pattern. I want to make sure I don't lose that. I took a picture of it just in case. Took a picture of all the spindles and pulleys, and I think what I'm going to do is remove everything from the deck and just go to town with a wire wheel on my grinder. Clean it up as much as I can on the top and the bottom. Try to see if I can fix this. And it's got a pretty good rust hole there, and this whole thing is kind of twisting down. So this is the main issue right here. So if I can patch this, hammer it out straight, maybe put some heat on it so it'll hold its shape, weld this cracked area right here, maybe, just maybe, it'll hold. I found a set of blades and 3 new spindles that'll fit this mower on Amazon for $100. So I may go ahead and order those and just go ahead and replace the spindles and the blades. Probably can clean these up, the pulleys, re-grease them, re-grease the bearings. They all seem to be spinning okay, but I might go ahead and replace the spindles anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't find a steel brush or something and start knocking some of this dirt off so I can get a better look at it. I got most of the loose dirt knocked off. You can see a little better now. This one pretty solid except for right through here, and then of course where the spindle, where it's cracked there, and you can see now how bent over that spindle and pulley is. And then on this one, it's pretty good all in here. This side over here, I'll have to patch up. But the mounting points all seem pretty solid on that one. All of these are good. I don't see any issues. And then this one over here, it's pretty good, except for this one little spot right here. The mounting points all seem good on that one. I did notice when I lifted it up and spun it over, this spindle doesn't really turn real well. I might be able to clean up the bearing in it and get it to spin, but I'll probably just go ahead and replace all three of them. So my next steps are going to be removing all these pulleys, all of this, everything that's attached to the deck. The deck actually attaches here, here, and here to the mower. These are actually quick release, just got springs on them. The deck slides in here, you can see, and this pulls out kind of and snaps in and holds the deck in. So you attach it to the front first, and then here and here, and that's what holds the deck on. And then of course you run the belt from the back, comes up and goes around all these pulleys. I need to get these blades and spindles off before I can really do anything else. I just don't have the room to get in here with the grinder, and I don't have wrenches or sockets big enough to fit those. The biggest I had was a 7/8, and it was about an 1/8 inch too small, so I think those are going to be 1-inch nuts. So I'm going to have to order some larger wrenches or go pick some up or something before I can get those off. You can see it's awfully pitted and bad, but it's solid. There's a few more little spots that I can see now that I've knocked off some of the rust. Got one here, one there, of course the big one over here that I haven't done anything with yet, and then the one on this one over here. Not even sure where it's, oh, right here on this side. But I did hit this with a wire wheel just a little bit to see how it would turn out, and it looks pretty solid. I mean, it's not pretty, but I think I ought to give me enough metal there to be able to patch this hole. All right, I didn't do any grinding on the top yet, but as you can see, I got everything removed except for the 3 main pulleys and spindles and blades, but all the other pulleys are off. And as soon as I get some larger wrenches, then I'll get those taken off, and then I'll really go to town with the grinder. Alright guys, so everything's off. Of course I had to cut the blade on this one, as you saw, because that nut would not budge. Bent the wrench trying to get it off. Tried to heat it up with a little propane torch, and I just don't think it was getting hot enough. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and replace the spindles anyway, so I just decided to go ahead and just cut the blade off so I could get it off. And did a little bit of the wire wheel just to see how it's going to look. It's worse than I thought, but I still think I can save it. I mean, pretty much this whole side is garbage. So I think I'm gonna keep going with the wire wheel, knock off as much as I can get off of the loose stuff, get it down to as much bare metal as I can. This one over here, this one's pretty solid. I mean, it's more solid than this one. You can see this one flexing. And of course that's the one that was bending over, causing the spindle to lean. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna cut all this out or if I'm just gonna leave it plate over it. I think I may, well, once I get as much of this as I can with the wire wheel knocked off, I'm gonna get some rust reformer and just coat this whole thing and let it convert any rust that's still on there. And then after that, I'll start, you know, welding in some patches. Maybe able to just weld this crack right here. Of course, I'm gonna have to fill in there. Little patch over here. This one got a hole there that I didn't see before. Got a hole over here I didn't see before. Gonna have to patch here, here, here. This part again, I'm not sure if I'm just gonna patch over it or cut it out. If I do the rust reformer and I know it's not gonna rust anymore, I may cut this loose stuff off, but for the most part I'll probably just leave it in there and patch it from the bottom side and the top side. And then over here on this one, this piece broke off when I was cutting grinding the bolt here, the nut, the bolt off. This one's cracked and bent. I'm gonna do my best to patch all this up, but I also did find some steel 16 gauge steel rings that are designed to match these bolt holes, and they're basically just steel rings that you set on from the underside to reinforce these bolt holes. So I'm going to order some of those. I'm not sure if they fit over this or if I'm going to have to grind these down to get them to sit flat on there. The spindle bolts from the back side, so if they're sticking up a little bit on this side, it's not going to matter. But I think I'm going to get those after I do all my patching and cleaning up, get those, and I don't know if I'll weld them on or just put them on and let the bolts hold them on. I think I want to at least, you know, tack them around the outside once I put them on there, because even if it's reinforcing these, if all these, you know, continue to get bad, that whole ring could break off from the weight pulling on these. So I think I probably will end up welding those on. I'll get them and make sure they're gonna fit. And then of course they come painted, so I'll have to grind the paint off of them and then put those on there, make sure they're gonna line up, weld them around the outside, and then bolt the new spindles on from the back side. But yeah, as you can see, I've got a lot of rust on here I need to get off and get it cleaned up before I even start trying to do my patching and start trying to do anything else. Alright, so I got this rust converter. To treat this deck. I've already done one coat on the other side. I'm probably gonna have to do a second coat. The instructions on it says that for really heavy rust it may require multiple coats. You just spray it on. Of course, I've already gone at this with a wire wheel and knocked off all the loose stuff, all the scaling, as much as I could. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray some of this on it and let it do its thing and see how it turns out. Alright, so there we go. Got it all sprayed down. The instructions say spray it on, let it dry, and it chemically converts the rust into a black something or other. It's supposed to be like a primer that will help protect it from rusting further and from more rust from forming. So I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit and see how it turns out. Alright, so that seemed to work somewhat well. It's definitely a lot darker. Still not completely dry. So I will probably let it sit out here overnight. Let it continue to dry, see how it does. And I may do another coat on it tomorrow. The bottle instructions does say that it could take a few coats if the rust is really heavy, and this was definitely heavily rusted, and you can see that from the rust holes in it that I'm going to still have to patch. But I think overall it got a lot of the surface rust but I'll let it dry overnight and see how it looks in the morning.